Long story short, you're trading your way to space. Tell
That's
me
right.
about the inspiration for this and how that began this whole series of trades.
Years ago, I came across Kyle McDonald's One Red Paperclip, and I thought that was just such an amazing, inspiring story. And I had this idea that maybe there was a way to get to space along the same kind of road, but it kind of sat in a back burner for a number of years. I literally set up a website and it just kind of sat there, and never made the first step to try to trade. So I got the kind of courage to call Kyle up this past year, and I called him up and I told him what I was up to and explained to him that I was interested in trading to space, and he said, "It's a cool idea. I support what you're doing. I get a lot of crazy requests, but this one seems like it's actually pretty viable." And he was my first trade off that spaceship. Was he actually traded me the space bar from the keyboard he used in wrangling up all of those trades to get his paperclip for a house. So the first trade was the toy spaceship for this initial space bar from Kyle McDonald that kind of kicked everything off. From there, I walked out of my apartment in the West Village in New York City, and sitting in front of me on the garbage bags in front of my apartment were 5 books that looked like they were just placed out there. I mean, there was nothing else that was remotely around, all space-related books that were sitting there. So I grabbed these books, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. I thought I should take these books and maybe do a giveaway on the site or something. Texted my girlfriend and said, "Jessica, I think the universe is trying to trade with me." And kind of joking, got back to my apartment and told my roommate Brett about what had happened, and he looks at me just completely deadpan and says, "Well, are you going to accept the trade or not?" And I'm just like, whoa, like maybe there's something to this. Like maybe I should just kind of open myself up to the possibility that the universe itself is trying to orchestrate a trade with me. So went down and took Kyle's space bar and set it on top of the garbage bags and kind of an offering to the universe, and took the books, and that became that's what I traded for the space bar.
Awesome trade. Thank you to the universe.
And let's jump ahead because this is now pretty big because your latest trade has got you a trip on a zero-G flight.
That's right, and just as equally wild set of circumstances, I was just traded Matt Berry from freelancer.com, CFreelancer.com. He traded a zero-G flight from Space Adventures, and he was really interested in getting this ticket to Awesomeness Fest from Mind Valley. So we did a trade, and now I've actually got up for trade a parabolic zero-G flight, which you can use to experience weightlessness, just like the astronauts use to train.
And the intersection here is amazing of being an entrepreneur and being an idealist, of getting towards your goal of going to space by being by hustling a little bit, and talk about how this shows how accessible space really can be.
I mean, there's my circle, my inner circle. We talk a lot about what are our core principles that define us, and I think it's important that we're consistently examining those and refining those. One of the things that stands out to me from a very early age is this idea that the only reason that we see problems is because there's an unimplemented solution somewhere. And so if you say, I want to go to space, I don't have $250,000, or I don't have $50 million to go to the International Space Station, in my mind that just means that then you're not taking the traditional route. You're not writing a check and going. But that doesn't mean that there's not a billion other possible ways to get there. I mean, if chess has taught me anything, it's that there's crazy situations, and if you just focus and try and look, that you can see checkmates where no one else would think there's a checkmate there.
So there are more ways to get into space than just a trip on a government-funded shuttle.
That's absolutely right. I think that this plays into this bigger narrative around space exploration and the privatization of space, but also just the many different ways that folks can come to getting involved with space. I mean, part of this project is the Students in Space program, where we're going to be providing every school district in the country with a space exploration curriculum. So students can send HD cameras enabled GPS units up 100,000 feet and shoot video of space. And part of that project is this idea of an event-based learning curriculum, which ties in art and math and science and literature and music and entrepreneurship and marketing, so that all of these different facets that students could be interested in, they can have a direct impact and see how we can all kind of come together collectively to work in getting to outer space.